Oh. Yeah. A fishing rod needs to take your bait or lure and propel it into the water. A fishing rod then needs to detect the bite when the fish comes and takes said lure or bait.
Yep, another one.
That fishing rod then needs to bend, absorb the lunges of a fish when hooked, and keep it attached to your hook until you've brought it in to the net. The problem, of course, is that when someone hands you a rod and you hold it and go, "Ooh, that's nice," you instantly know it's going to be expensive. I wanted to make a rod that was lightweight, easy to use, and enjoyable to fish with. I wanted a rod that wasn't going to break, and I also wanted it to be not too expensive. Combining these three things, how hard could it possibly be?
It's massive!
Well, as it happens, really, really frickin' hard. And that's why this video doesn't end here. Let's go back to the start and look at how I built my own range of fishing rods. My very first step towards building the perfect rod was to source some high quality carbon fibre. This stuff is expensive and I was going to need some help. In life, and particularly in business, people often say that it's not what you know, but who you know. And I just want to be dead clear that on my own, the video you're watching now could never happen. You know, I'm not going to go out in my garden and just dig up some carbon fibre and start building my own fishing rods. No, this journey actually started a long time ago, probably 6 or 7 years ago. Myself and Alex were working at a fishing company and we were doing their marketing. We started building our own rod range back then. And we got samples, we did some designs, we were sort of back and forth with a factory, but it didn't end up working out because Alex and I decided to take our YouTube channel full time, and sadly part of that was that we had to part ways with the company that we worked with. So that was a sort of an end before it had really begun. Fast forward to, I think, 2022, I think, or 2023, and I was out in Belgium fishing with a guy called Danny. Now, Danny is the owner of Korda and Guru, possibly the largest and most trusted tackle brands in Europe. He's been kind enough to sponsor my channel for the last 6 years, and I've grown to not only rate their product range, but also become friends with the whole team behind the company.
What address do we invoice to?
You're a very talented man, you're multiple skills.
Thank you very much.
With permission granted from Guru's management, under the promise that the whole project must serve anglers and retain utmost attention to detail, I was given David McCauley's email address. David is responsible for designing many of the rods I've used throughout my life and an industry-leading expert when it comes to carbon and rod components. And therefore, I felt like I was in safe hands. However, before even meeting David face to face, I needed to get a really solid idea of what I wanted to achieve. Morning.
How's it going?
Good, thank you. Yeah. Are you like in charge of this shop?
Yes.
Am I allowed to film in there?
Yes, you're more than welcome. It's clean, it's tidy. How are you?
Have we? Once I'd written down more specifically what I liked and what I didn't like about the rods that were on the market already, it was time for my first meeting with David to thrash out what was really possible from this project.
Hello.
Good to see you. On one hand, meeting David was great. It proved to me that the project was possible, what I hoped to achieve was going to be doable in some way, shape or form. But on the other hand, I realised how much I was going to have to invest in this, both financially, but also time, effort. Emotionally, I'm very much consumed by making videos. I think of myself as a filmmaker, but I was going to have to sacrifice an amount of that to put the energy, the thought, and the effort that was needed to develop a rod range that I could be proud of. At the end of that first meeting, we came away with a few ideas of a few different rods that I wanted to make, and specifically 3 lure rods that we were going to focus on first.
But all of what you're asking for is achievable.
a powerful lure rod for pike and catfish, a sort of a light, more sensitive lure rod for your perch, your small pike, your zander, and then an ultra light, lovely sort of drop shot. Yeah, you get the gist. I wanted 3 rods in the range and I needed to go away and draw up specifications for them. Oh, that was exciting. Guess what?
You're making rods.
Yeah. A little bit of back and forth on email with David, and a couple of months later,
Yeah, it's like Christmas but better.
we had some first look samples arrive at our house.
I actually can't believe this is happening.
Holding these rods for the first time was really cool. They were light in the hand. David had obviously got the carbon selection correct, and yeah, I could already see things that were maybe wrong with the handle, the eyes maybe needed a change. There's a couple of other small alterations, but the thing that hit me the most and the sort of heart-sinking feeling in that initial moment was, oh boy, we've got the aesthetics completely wrong. I thought I knew what I wanted graphically, but it turned out that there's a big difference between how it looks on paper and how it looks as a physical, actual product.
Oh, is this from India?
No.
Oh my god, it's your rods.
Yeah.
So, how is it?
Good and bad.
Okay.
3 lure rods, all of different strengths.
Gosh, this is so exciting.
It's important to mention that many of the rods you can see here are carp or coarse fishing rods, float feeder sort of things. We've been working on these simultaneous to the lure range, but they'll be finished probably next year. For now, these prototypes though needed a lot of work. After choosing the raw material and cutting it to shape, the next step in the rod building process is to warm, stick, and then roll the carbon around the mandrel. This forms the shape and taper of the rod, dictating its action and stiffness. I already had a list as long as my arm of changes I wanted to make to these rods, and I hadn't even taken them on the bank yet. The following week, myself and Isaac went out to basically try and break them.
No chance, look at that!
Isaac, the tip is almost touching the butt. What? With a little help from Isaac, we were able to break a couple of the rods in the coarse fishing range. The lure rods though, mate, these things were frickin' indestructible. Like whatever David had done in terms of the carbon choice and like the way it's sort of wrapped around like, the man, I don't really, you know, that, wow. I break rods quite often in my fishing. You know, I'm terrible at looking after my gear. I'm always making silly mistakes, getting snagged, snapping rod tips and whatever. But these rods were ridiculous. Like what we did that day, you don't do when you're on the bank. Like, we actually tried our best to break them. Once the carbon's been compressed around the mandrel, it's then warmed and cured. Basically, it's cooked in an oven. I won't go into details because it's kind of boring, but this part has to be done right or else the rod will be fragile and useless. Much later on that year, I was invited up to the office once again to meet David, but also Adam, who was sort of overseeing the project. That day I was keen to see the second round of samples. There'd been a number of changes based off of our first sort of feedback, and now this was a chance to see how close we'd got to a finished product.
So the taper of this section changed. So you have a higher taper, so you have a slightly more powerful, stronger blank.
Of course, all 3 of us had different opinions, suggestions and thoughts about this next round of samples. My first being that the light lure rod needed to be more sensitive in the tip. I was of the opinion that people wouldn't be able to feel bites from small perch or potentially zander. We then had the butt cap. We all agreed that a plastic logo butt cap looked terrible. So I kind of said, well, why don't we just go all in and actually engrave, like cut into the metal. The other thing was that there was a little bit of a disagreement on the handle material. I personally really like cork. I think it looks really good and I just like how it feels. However, Adam and Dave rightly pointed out that if we wanted people to be able to use these rods out in the ocean, we would have to get a very high quality cork so that it wouldn't get damaged or degraded by the salt water, and high quality cork comes at a very high price. And also, eventually, I kind of agreed with the guys that the full foam handle not only was going to be more hard wearing, but also just looked better. The full slick black appearance was just better looking.
Change all the grips and pop the EVA.
Yep.
And then adjust the tip. Well, the tip action will last 30 seconds.
It's important to mention as well that throughout this whole process, every time I got my hands on a sample, I was getting out and fishing with it as much as possible. Things have been pretty busy this year. I've had a lot on my plate, lots and lots of editing, lots of time spent in this room at my desk. But at any opportunity, even if I'd only had like half an hour or something, I'd get on my bike, take the rod, cycle down to the local stream and fish. Because I think only through properly testing and trying these rods was I gonna iron out any issues. And in fact, I even started using these rods in situations which they weren't designed for. I started fishing float with the light lure rod. I started fishing for carp with the power lure rod. You know, this isn't what I developed the rod for. Flipping bream. I just wanted to test them in a lot of different environments to see if I could find any faults. Oh, look, he's on. The only issue to arise was that light monofilament was being slightly twisted by the tip eye on the power lure rod. So we switched that tip eye out for another design and that problem was solved. Selecting eyes or guides for a rod is mostly down to line or braid choice, that and how much strength is needed for resilience. But I wanted these rods to be as light as possible, so we chose components that combine strength with the absolute minimum mass. I remember catching this tiny pike, taking a photo of it, not thinking much of it and putting it on my Instagram story. And then suddenly so many messages just popping up out of nowhere. This project, which was kind of about me making my perfect rods, suddenly became a lot bigger. I started having some really good conversations with fishermen I was meeting on the bank about what their thoughts on the rods were, what their opinions were, what price point is realistic. To be honest, I was quite lucky with what I found. Most of my thoughts and my preferences and the decisions that we'd made along the way were leaning towards what the general public wanted from a rod too. The crux was the price. I'd added a lot of nice things. I'd switched certain bits of plastic out for metal. I'd switched certain materials out for higher quality ones. What we hadn't considered maybe enough was the price.
Would you believe me if I said that that was first cast? First cast. And that's what we've got. Oh my.
I started looking at this from a sort of business perspective. I had to start being realistic. I needed to save up enough money so I could buy enough stock in one go so that I could get the price down to a point where I could realistically use it, fish with it, and confidently encourage others to use it too. I seem to remember a lot of time passed before I got my hands on the third round of samples. These are just for us and friends, for now.
To test.
Yeah. These were 95% of the way there. And it was winter. I'm fairly certain I met up with Cal that week. And we went pike fishing. Hey!
Made it!
Well, I've got something for you, so
Have you?
come on down.
Ooh!
Finally.
Ooh! Zing!
Zing.
You're zinging! Is that engraved?
Finishing touches on a rod like a protective metal butt cap, hook keeper, and minimal graphics are all pleasant additions. I found that 90% of the budget-friendly rods on the market lack these minor details, but I've always felt like if you're going to do something, do it properly.
Parkour. I'm the best person to use a rod.
Because you snap every rod you've
Because I
ever
snap
used.
every rod. So if this holds up to the cal effect,
You know it's a good rod.
Yeah.
Oh, yes! Yeah, oh my god, it's big! It's big! Where's your net? On my back. How am I getting down there?
Whoa, careful. Don't fall in.
Yes!
A couple more months passed and plenty more testing was done, and I didn't really have much feedback, to be honest. All I wanted for the final rods was for the butt section in particular to have a thicker layer of varnish on it, just so it was more resilient. Less chance of it getting dented, scratched, or any of the paint coming off if you were to drop it on a hard ground or something.
He's come back. Oh, what? Hello. There you go. What the hell's going on? Oh, muddy, but I'm happy. First fish.
Not only was Cal's first session with my power lure rod a success, but his next trip threw up something incredible.
Whoa! Don't want to be slipping in now, do we? Come on. Oh, yeah, another one. Another one. What a take! What a take! That feels pretty decent though. That feels like a good fish. Oh no, maybe it's not. Is it? Oh, actually guys. This feels really heavy. This feels like a really big, dude! That is my PB pike on a lure. If I can, oh, look at the size of it. It's not gonna fit in the net. Whoa! Oh, it's in. This is nuts.
I then had a rod, or a range of these 3 rods, that I was potentially now looking at buying. Investing in putting forward the money to get these rods made. Throughout the summer, my attentions moved from lure fishing and my rod range to carp fishing and getting a couple of films edited. It's now August and David gets in touch to say that the rods are on their way. They'll be arriving soon. Suddenly I panic because my dad's house is really quite full. We've made a load of kits, like carp fishing kits, float fishing kit, and method feeder kits. And therefore they have basically filled up my brother's old bedroom. I've got Omi's art and my sweaters and caps and a few other things in my old bedroom. The downstairs spare room is also full of, I don't even know what, cardboard boxes and the like. And now I'm told that 1,000 fishing rods are going to be rocking up anytime soon. I ended up fishing with my mate Harry. We went out on his boat, caught a few mackerel, some bass.
Wait, it's a chunk of a mackerel.
And whilst out there, I decided to put to him the question, would you mind if I was to use some space in your parents' barn? They've got a barn that's attached to their outdoor animal feeds shop. Harry runs the tackle shop out of that section and then uses some of the space in that barn. And basically, he was like, yeah, of course, no worries.
Yeah. Yes, Carl.
And a huge sigh of relief was heard across Brighton and Hove and the ocean and the windmills. I definitely wouldn't have caught this one if it wasn't for you, though.
Well,
I'm lost.
because the fact that it's my boat.
And it's your lure.
Your lure.
Told
Told you where to cast.
It's your spot. My dad is actually the only reason why I even have an online store. If it wasn't for him saying about 5 years ago that he was willing to sit in my old bedroom, build himself a desk, and start taking beanie hats and calendars and posters and sticker packs and sending them out to you guys who watch the channel. If he didn't offer that back then, and if he didn't offer to do that basically for free for the first year, I definitely wouldn't be making this video, definitely wouldn't be making my own rod range. So when he realised, oh, things are growing, things are scaling up, I'm gonna have to be sending rods at some point soon. Yeah, we had to have conversations about him getting a little pay rise potentially, and also, you know, in general, just taking control. Like, he basically manages my store now. So we were trashing the house again, like we did when we were kids. And then, all at once, 1,000 FWC lure rods were delivered to Harry's warehouse. In that moment, things had just got real. I very quickly set about photographing the final rods, and together with Isaac we prepared the website ready for launch.
That's such a big difference.
Funny old thing, isn't it? I think that's done.
Carl, it's got your name on it.
Can we open it?
Yeah.
We can?
Yeah.
Can we actually open it? Oh, sick.
Should you not be the guy that's doing this?
Each of these is, I think, 300 or 400. And there's 3 of them.
Each of these pallets here?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
There's a few rods here, Carl.
A few days were spent checking the final products, and this reassured me that we'd actually done it. FWC Tackle had just been born, and our first launch was just days away.
Now, some of your eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed I'm actually using a new rod.
Today I'm using the Fish with Carl lure rod.
I'm really impressed with this ultralight rod. I've never really been ultralight lure fishing before.
Over the next few days, a few orders for the rods started trickling in. My dad began posting them, and as my rod building journey drew to an end, my parents' job was just beginning, making way for turning their whole house into a fishing tackle company distribution centre. A final thanks is massively overdue, and that thank you is to my dad. A guy who I don't really believe I've spent enough time with over the years. A guy I don't give enough credit to within these videos. A guy who I wouldn't be even, well, I wouldn't be here without him because, you know, obvious reasons. But anyway, Dad, thank you. Thanks also to David and Adam. Thanks to Danny, Damien Clark at Korda for backing and believing the vision that I had. And of course, thanks to every single person watching this video and all of you who've already gone out and bought yourself a Fish with Carl rod.
Come on the power lure, get in.
Whoa! Dude, it's a good sander!
Yes! Thanks for tagging me in the photos. Thanks for the messages of support. Thanks for sharing with me your fishing trips, your fishing moments.
Got him.
Yeah, I'm on. Yeah.
The fact that I, in a small way, can be a part of your fishing sessions. The fact that I, in some way, can enable and support people in trying new styles of fishing, getting out there, spending time on the bank and making memories. That is so incredibly special.
What you got there?
And it means the world to me.
Using
Carl's rod.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rods. See ya.
This is nuts!